Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and I have a Wrestlepalooza match card uh, review. I always don't know review like what do you call it necessarily? I guess we go over it and discuss it. Rate 'em. Ranking also could be a good word. I always just kind of put review in the title at least, but let's just kind of jump into it. This PLE, I think, on paper was supposed to be one of those that I think that was a little bit more hyped than it ended up being because it was like the first ESPN one. At least to me, I thought we were gonna get something just kind of crazier or like bigger, like either a return or something that like just kind of felt like out of left field, like with either maybe a heel turn or like maybe possibly some sort of uh I don't know. Honestly, anything really. I just thought there'd be something. So let's just kind of jump into it and we'll kind of discuss where it ended up at. So first off, we had John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. It was just a glorified squash match. I really didn't understand this in general. Didn't think Cena versus Lesnar shouldn't happen on his retirement tour, but I felt like this is a weird position to have it because now it feels like they're gonna have to have another match, right? Like you're really gonna have to have some other type of match, or it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, you squashed Cena, so Lesnar just tired. Oh, I beat him. That's it. No big deal. Like it just kind of feels very weird to just have it that way. I really thought we would have somebody return here or something would happen to cause Brock to lose, but there really wasn't much any surprise about it, other than maybe Paul Heyman doing his announcement, which does that mean like Lesnar might be going to the Vision? I don't really think so, but it would be an interesting concept to think about. But overall, this match just was terrible. I don't understand anything about it. I don't understand making it a squash match. I don't understand uh, just him losing, Cena losing. I don't understand Brock winning just by so easy. It was an 8 minute match, the lowest match out of all of these. It just felt like you might as well not have even had it on the card. They just feel like they're throwing John Cena out there for the Wolves because we already know John Cena's on the perf card for the next Night of Champions, and he's not a champion or crown jewel, so that means he's just going to be there for something that we're going to have no build to. And I just kind of don't like the tail end of this. I don't think I was really against what they were doing before, even with the heel turn and all that type of stuff. Him losing to Cody at SummerSlam felt weird because Cody wasn't ready to take over, and it felt like Cena could have had more storyline and could have held onto that title for a little bit longer. But overall, after what they've done with that, it's just really been pointless for John Cena. A couple, no contest, a win against Logan Paul, and this just seems kind of I'm gonna put this down in D. Definitely the worst match, maybe of the entire year. I would say. I'd probably put it lower if I could, but I like to only go down to D to make it at least card look a little bit better. Then we had the Bronze versus the Usos. This match I think kind of fell apart at the end because of the injury. Jey Uso accidentally hit himself in the head with the chair and might have concussed himself. I feel like there was something that was supposed to happen at the end of this, like maybe Jay turning on Jimmy or something. It felt like there was something a little bit more that was going to happen here, or them turning on LA Knight because he was the guest referee. I really think there was a bigger storyline that got kind of cut the last minute that kind of made this match seem like, why was it here? I am glad that the Vision won to a certain extent because it was like they have to save this faction of being like strong and doing all this stuff, and they take so many L's as like single competitors or no contest that like they gotta win these tag team ones, and they really gotta win these belts. I really believe to complete the Vision in the way that they want to, like to make it look as powerful as possible, they need to take the tag team belts off the Judgment Day and defend them a lot more too. I really think all of that will really make this whole thing just come together. Until then, it's just kind of still struggling to do it. I think the match itself was okay. I think a lot of people had it pretty high rated up there. It wasn't necessarily anything too crazy to me. I feel like we had the spots and stuff that could have really made this match way better, and they just didn't do it. And I know there was some of that because of the injury towards the end, but it felt like there was still some time in between that before that happening. They should have done a little bit more. And obviously, the rules were a little bit more flexible with the special guest referee, which was interesting. I did like that touch. It did make me like the match a little bit better, but I think I'd put it in C. Not anything great, not anything bad. If this was the opening match, I think it would have been fine. I feel like the Cena match definitely kind of made this match also feel worse because it just felt like you were getting two stinkers kind of in a row. And I feel like if they would have done the timing a little bit better, it might have been a little bit different. But it kind of tends to be with the WWE pay per views. Then we go to Stephanie versus Io Sky. Now, completely transparent. I love both of these women. They're in easily my top 10 of all time. I think both of them are phenomenal in and outside of the ring. They do great work in there, and I was really glad to see it. I guess my few caveats of negative I would have to say is one, I feel like the matches that they previously had on Raw, even though they were no contest, were better. I do think that they kind of suffered from a slow start, which is not necessarily bad. If you watch a lot of like Japanese wrestling and stuff like that, they had the normal lockups and stuff that they do, and it's kind of like almost like a callback to that. But I think for a WWE crowd, it wasn't really the case because of the last two matches. Again, I think if this match was on fourth, I think it would have been a lot better. I think coming off of like being in front of the like mixed tag match, I think it would have put a little bit better case of being a little bit slower, but because it was kind of a long match, they could have definitely cut out that first 5 minutes and the match would have been a tighter, better package. But I do think it's just timing and order because, like I said, I would have put the Usos on first, that tag match first. I would have went with the Cena Lesnar fan and gave them more time and it not be a squash. But if you were to keep it the same, it should have gone second. Then it should have been the mixed tag. Then it should have been the women's championship, and then Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. Also, you could have flipped the women's title and the men's title. They could have gone either or because obviously you wanted Cody Rhodes in your main event, but I don't think it was justified with how little build up there was. But yeah, back to the match. I think this was absolutely fantastic. I'm going to put it in a solid A. It really just misses that mark to me because I feel like the start was a little bit slow. Everything else I thought was really good. I think Io did some good stuff. I do hate the fake injury angle because Io then gets limited to what she can show off because she's pretending that she has a knee injury and she's not doing anything as crazy. Don't like that. It still had a good story in there for her to like not win. I do think they should have had Asuka come down and it cost Io. I really do think like not winning clean here would have been perfect, but in a way that like Asuka doesn't like technically take out Io, but enough that she distracts her or something where Stephanie still kind of gets a solid win, but also that Io could possibly challenge in the future. So I would put it in a solid A. Good match, probably the match of the night. Without getting too much of a spoiler around, but you know that we can see. I guess we'll see what happens. Then we had the mixed tag match: AJ Lee, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. This was the most pumped match I thought I had like on the card. It mixed between that and the Io match, but I think it delivered. I remember after pretty much how I do these videos, I'll go into Cage Match and kind of like look and see what people rate them and stuff, and just see if there's anything like maybe I was thinking, but like my brain would be more formulated by other people being like, oh yeah, there was this part, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was a little weird, just stuff like that. You can always have extra opinions. I talked to my partner too, who watches all the events with me, and ask their opinion and stuff, and they tell me different stuff. So I try to make it a nice hodgepodge of being like, it's part of my opinion, but part of also just kind of in general what the general idea is. This one I do have to disagree with most of the critics and stuff because it got terrible. It was the second lowest match on this card, and I don't believe it was. Some of the spots were a little bit more comedy type things, and like some of the stuff didn't look as great. But if you're thinking about AJ Lee coming back after 10 years, this was a phenomenal match. Put it into perspective, same as Nikki Bella coming back for her first singles match in 10 years or whatever, how long she was gone. And AJ Lee blew her out of the water. I think everybody else did great. I think Becky Lynch sold like a champ out there, and Seth Rollins did too. Because like CM Punk would not sell any of Becky's moves, but Seth Rollins sold like he was getting beaten down by AJ Lee, and I feel like that was also a phenomenal thing. I do like that spot, that table spot where AJ Lee got thrown into them is probably the most unique table spot that I've seen in a long time. The table kind of busted weird, but that's just because of those new tables. Not a big fan of the new tables, but I still do like that spot. I'd put this in a solid B. I really thought it was an enjoyable match, and it would be a match that I probably watch again. Only thing I would say, it was very long. 30 minutes is insane for that. And I feel like the whole first part of it was a traditional tag match, and then it just kind of felt into a tornado tag match. They should have just made it a tornado tag match in the beginning and cut out those first like 10 minutes of them of CM Punk just trying to desperately get a tagged in, or was it vice versa? I can't even remember now. I think it was, yeah, CM Punk was trying to get tagged in. They should have just cut all of that out, and I would have been perfectly fine with like that, or just make it a little bit smaller and just made it a tornado tag match, because that's what it ended up being. And it was just really weird because like CM Punk tried to pin Seth Rollins and they did the count. I was like, but he's not even legal, and the women are legal. So there's some parts in there that makes me definitely want to put it in B, but I feel like overall as a match I still thought it was good. Then we get to Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes. I honestly am not really upset about this match. There was a few little things that I felt like is definitely should be talked about. I do think the whole like referee stopping Drew from doing certain stuff was kind of stupid. And I think a lot of people got mad because he was like, well, if he kicks him to the table, that's not a disqualification. I'm pretty sure that should be a disqualification. I feel like we've kind of been limited to what we talk about a disqualification. And wrestling, when I grew up, the stale chairs, obviously automatic. And then the stairs were kind of pretty much an automatic if you threw somebody into it. And then any touching of the announcing table was an automatic disqualification. So kicking him into the side of the announcement table feels like that would be a disqualification. So stopping him there, I didn't think is bad. Stopping him in the ring for that one moment was kind of dumb. But I feel like they really need to make Cody look a little bit better. I don't really understand like the WWE's kind of obsession of making especially the babyface champions, like, because they do this with Sami Zayn. They look extremely weak, and then they just have that power influx. You could just have a really good back and forth match. The prime example would be Cody Rhodes versus John Cena at SummerSlam. Both of them looked good. They both had good offense, but still took a bunch of attacks and stuff. And I really think that, well, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins will do great at Crown Jewel. I think that will be close to that. But this could have been there. I think this could have easily been an S-tier match, even like maybe a 5-star classic if they really just let them wrestle and they cut all the other BS around it. I think there was just so much extra bullshit about it. And obviously, Drew losing clean was a weird call there to a certain extent, because obviously Cody winning is not a bad call if this match is just about like a war of attrition and just Drew doesn't have what it takes to like finish off the match. But like it wasn't even that. He just kind of lost. Like it was kind of out of the blue to a certain extent. He kind of hurt his leg really hard by kicking into the table and all of that type of stuff. And it just kind of felt like they just kind of gifted it to Cody. I know he seemed a little like rusty in the beginning because he hadn't been wrestling in a bit because of filming. I just felt like this was like kind of a wasted good matchup to have on such a low, threshold of it. Like we definitely could have had like Randy coming down and maybe costing Drew McIntyre, and then Cody be conflicted and be like, hey, I need to win these by myself, and then Randy eventually turning on Cody or something. Like, there could have been so much other stuff they could have done, but I think I'd put this in B. I think I'd put overall the show in a C. I just really quite didn't enjoy everything about it. I feel like they definitely had a lot of spots that needed to be fixed up here, and I think they definitely knew it. Being on the first ESPN show, I thought we were going to get a lot bigger part, and them going against AEW was crazy. That AEW, I really feel like, blew them out of the water here, and their card was like 15 hours long, so it made sense, but no, not really. But if you guys like these videos, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We're still marching towards watch time, and if you enjoy wrestling and stuff like that, we have a Discord too if you want to join. I've been building that up. It doesn't have a ton of wrestling, and it's normally my gaming live streams, but I do post a lot about this channel on there, and we have certain goals that you could be participating in there to get fun Discord prizes and other stuff. So if you guys want that, there should be a Discord link, or just comment and I can send you a link if not. But until next time, it's been Japan. Bye, guys.